President Trump is getting the silent treatment.
I've never walked into a room so silent before.
The nation's top military brass stood at attention. No applause, no cheers. In fact, no reaction whatsoever.
This is very... Don't laugh. You're not allowed to do that. You know what? Just have a good time.
A few moments later.
Into a room so silent before. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. You can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank. There goes your future.
Is that a threat?
This photo is going viral on social media, and this is of our military generals and admirals listening to Trump ramble on for hours. But it's the reaction of this one here that has this photo going viral. And it's going viral because this conveys the feeling of pretty much all Americans in this country in response to what Trump had said. No one cheered, only looks of concern. And it's about them declaring war on American cities. That's right. They want to declare war and wage war in our inner cities in America. This is what Trump said. He even suggested using our cities as training for the military in war.
I told Pete we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military.
It's disgusting, Donald.
Donald Trump intends to use the United States military against American citizens who simply disagree with him. He calls, quote, the enemy from within.
You cannot have a dictatorship without the support and consent of the armed services.
What are my beautiful black people? Welcome to Black People Politics Network. I'm Mr. Red. This was an audition for their dictatorship regime and how they're going to spread across America and using our military, which is supposed to protect American citizens, to be used on their citizens as if we are Nazi Germany. I was on Facebook yesterday and I was a little concerned because I don't go on Facebook too often, and I know that some of the people that I served with leans slightly right. And when I saw one of the leaders that I came up under write something, talking about how embarrassing this speech was, talking about how he was so frustrated at what he had heard, that gave me some hope. That gave me hope because just like those military leaders in the room, this man who I served with, who I have the utmost respect for, told me that he was disgusted too. And hopefully that means that these crazy ideas that Trump wants to spell out to our military, that they realize that they have an oath to protect against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That means any enemies we have outside of the United States and the ones that threaten us within. And that's going on right now. We have a lot to discuss. Let's strap in. Let's get after it.
When I walk downstairs like I'm on stairs, like these stairs, I walk very slowly. Nobody has to set a record. Just try not to fall. We used to sign a piece of garbage. I said, this man's going to be a general, right? Yeah. I want to use the big, beautiful, firm paper. I love my signature. I really do. Everyone loves my signature. I always think to myself, how can you have an auto pen sign this? We like to name it the F-47. I said, all right, let me think about it. Then after thinking for about 2 seconds, I said, okay. You know what that means, 47. I'm 47. So I'm 45, 46, and 47, you know, if you think about it. I just don't want the credit for 46.
They sat bolt upright, hands on their laps. Even when he cracked jokes, you could hear a pin drop.
I'm very careful, you know, when I walk downstairs like I'm on stairs, like these stairs, I walk very slowly. So one thing with Obama, I had zero respect for him as a president, but he would bop down those stairs. I've never said, da-da-da-da-da-da, pop, pop, pop.
Nobody wants you here. Nobody.
Now, I want to spare y'all having to watch a bunch of these longer videos. I watched it. I'm going to tell you, you could feel the room when Trump tried to crack a joke about Obama. Because say what you will about Obama, he was very presidential. He was a historian of the office, and he had reverence for it.
What happens when the other side has repeatedly and abundantly made clear they are not interested in playing by the rules? It's a problem. And when that happens, we fight for what we believe in.
When Trump tries to speak against a president that actually reverenced our troops, he got silence. Generals and admirals, they don't clap for clown shows. These are serious men that went to school, that went through theology about military tactics, about what happened in history. They have to understand history as leaders so that we don't repeat the same mistakes of the past. They know what they heard was not leadership. And I've said that many times on this channel, that Trump isn't a leader. Leaders unify people. What he was trying to do was unify the military to be used as his personal Gestapo. This was an insecure man begging for validation and telling generals his plans on using them against American people.
Portland, Oregon, where it looks like a war zone. Unless they're playing false tapes, this looked like World War II. San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. We're going to straighten them out one by one.
And then the phrase came up, the enemy within. And that's straight out of the authoritarian playbooks. Hitler said it. Mussolini said it. Dictators always say it when they're setting up people as targets. That's right, you and me. And those leaders in the room, they've studied history, as I stated. They've read the warnings. And the phrase isn't a slip-up. It's a blueprint. Trump wasn't inspiring confidence. He was laying groundwork to pit soldiers against their own fellow Americans. And the room knew it. And you could see it all over their faces.
But if the words I'm speaking today are making your heart sink, then you should do the honorable thing and resign. For too long, we've promoted too many uniformed leaders for the wrong reasons, based on their race, based on gender quotas, based on historic so-called firsts. We became the woke department. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. We are done with that. Each service will ensure that every requirement for every designated combat arms position returns to the highest male standard only.
A few moments later.
This is not about preventing women from serving. If women can make it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. If that means no women qualify for some combat jobs, so be it. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. We're going to cut our hair, shave our beards, and adhere to standards. Talk about words like bullying and hazing and toxic. They've been weaponized. And if that makes me toxic, then so be it. No more frivolous complaints. No more anonymous complaints. Simply put, if you do not meet the male-level physical standards for combat positions, cannot pass a PT test, or don't want to shave and look professional, it's time for a new position.
And then came Pete Hegseth, Trump's hype man, his mouthpiece, his failed pull-up champ. This man has never led troops into battle, but suddenly he thinks he's the voice of America's military? Please, Pete. You can't even lead your troops out of a bar with a bottle of whiskey. Hegseth delivered a speech that was less about service and sacrifice and more about politics and loyalty to Trump. It was delusional and it was dangerous. He stood in front of seasoned commanders, people who know the cost of war, and he reduced their service to political theater.
Move out and draw fire, because we are the War Department.
Wait,
Godspeed.
Go! Let's change up!
He was waiting for an applause. He thought he said some real shit.
And here's the kicker. Kamala Harris, she warned us. She said Trump would do this. She said he'd turn the military inward, point them at enemies, and Pete's little speech was the setup act.
Donald Trump is telling us how he intends to use power if he is elected again. He has stated that one of the biggest threats America faces is, quote, the enemy from within. The enemy from within. But know where that language harkens back to. Understand, and let us be clear about what he is saying. He considers any American who doesn't support him or bend to his will to be an enemy to our country.
The military isn't supposed to serve a president. They serve the Constitution. But Trump and Pete made something clear. They want loyalty to one man, not to the American people. And that's not democracy. That is what you call a dictatorship.
Before the speech, it was an insane security risk to pull 800 generals from their stations around the world to listen to a rah-rah speech. And if this was about national security and they were worried about security leaks, it was one thing, but it was a speech for Pete Hegseth to spew a bunch of nonsense.
Trump said war is now a big part of our cities, and that he wants to send the military in to our cities to end the war zones he claims they are in.
He says defending the homeland is the most important job of the military. This is where he starts getting serious. We are under invasion from within. He says that twice. The people of the White House that were before us were radical left lunatics. The Democrats running these cities are the worst off. They are run by radical left lunatics, and we are going to straighten them out. We are going to use some of the people in this room, in fact, to solve that. Yes, he said that. It is a war from within. Based on common sense and love of country is how we operate.
The man is a lunatic, but I think I know exactly where he's going next.
We should even use these dangerous cities as a training ground for our military. A real leader does what he has to do. You gotta do what you gotta do.
He's not gonna hurt us.
Soldiers should be able to knock the hell out of a woman protester yelling in their face. If it's okay with you and everybody in this room, let's go ahead and tell our troops, if you spit, we hit. That's our new motto.
Now they like to say, oh, you're not allowed to use the military. Well, that's what the oath says, foreign and domestic. Well, we also have domestic.
You want me to serve you? Listen, that's why this speech was both embarrassing and dangerous. Embarrassing because the world saw Trump is sounding weaker and frailer by the day. And this is a supposed strongman that knows that he cannot do it unless he is given the power and authorization by the military. He has Congress, and he has the Senate, and he has the Supreme Court. The last thing that he needs in order to secure power is the military. After that, that's a wrap. That's game over. And no matter how many people they try to put in there, I believe that we have the people that are in place that will not allow that to occur. They're going to follow their orders for as long as they can. But I will tell you, I don't think they're winning over this military. As much as people might have supported him, they're not going to go for this shit. And that's what makes it dangerous. Because he and Pete openly laid out their plan to weaponize the military against Americans. This was something that we never expected to hear come out of the mouth of a president. So if you are a MAGA person and you are watching this right now and you think that this is American, what's happening right now, you are part of the side of history that was absolutely wrong. We might disagree on what you might think about me or my skin color or where I live and how I want to love and all these things. We might disagree on that. But if we're disagreeing because this is wrong, and if you can't admit that, we're all fucked. People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people. Stay vigilant, stay engaged, stay revolutionary.